Good afternoon. So I hope that everybody, I got a coffee in hand, so that can wake you up during the afternoon talk. Thank you for your kind introduction. I am Virach Sornlertlamvanich. I'm Thai, but I now working for Musashino University in the Faculty of Data Science. So I'm really happy to come back to give a talk about my recent work. Actually, this work is inspired by my faculty that we have a plan to open the online courses in April next year. We call it Faculty of Data Science. Then we face a problem because most of the lectures conducted in Japan is in Japanese, because most of Japanese students prefer to listen to Japanese. So it's also forced me to give my lecture in Japanese. That is quite difficult sometimes. Because your brain, you have to switch between the language and the thought and the thinking that you have in your head. And also, to make the course online, so it's not so efficient if you make it online, and then we limit the students just only in Japanese native speakers. Now, how can we make it international courses? So that is one thing that we think about, how to create the multilingual learning content. Okay, so I don't think that it is economic to create the multilinguals manually. It means that you design the content and let the native speaker to give the sound in their own language. And also, it is very costly when we're going to create video in studio, because you have to prepare the script and also prepare the sometimes except besides your lecture time. So that is put a lot of burden, especially to me, because I was assigned to give the content as well. So that is another motivation for me to initiate this program. Okay, let's thank to my colleagues that helped me a lot to work on this project. It took about 6 months to work on it. To create the multilingual content, it is not, it is very crucial because if we use the machine or AI approach that you are mentioned today, there are a lot of hallucination, okay? So it is not all the generated text are reliable. So we need some mechanism to get rid of this hallucination as well. So that is another motivation for me to publish another journal papers that work for these projects. So let's come to this project. So I introduced human cognitive load-based learning content generation models. I name it co-learning. Come from connective learning, to connect all possible resources and tools, and also human learning process together. Okay. So the talk will come into how to create the learning contents that's suitable for self-learning. So can you imagine if the student have to sit in front of the computers to view the lecture 100 minutes lecture? That is very boring, okay? So, and also the lecture that recorded in the real lecture classroom. So it is not interactive content. So that is one big issue for me and our teams, how to fine-tune or refine the recorded video to be attractive video, okay? And also, we follow the cognitive load theory, that when we're going to learn something new, we have very limited memory to learn, because we have to concentrate and then learning the new thing, because we have to prepare a lot of concentration to get a new information in hand, so that we have very limited learning memory to work on. So how to make the content is good enough to push into the limited working memory. And then come up to our co-learning algorithm, and then we give you the implementation and show you some demo. Okay. The issue about the generated content, that I told you that because I was assigned to produce the content by myself for my lecture as well. So I don't think that I will spend another time from my normal classroom to go to the studio and record a new video again. But somehow it is very excessive. It takes a long time because the class in Musashino University, it is 100 minutes, and I have to continue in 200 periods for one period of the lecture. So it is very excessive length and also monotonous because it's like radio broadcasting, just one way. You give a lecture one way, and it is very hard to get the response from the student. And many things I have to repeat because it is a real time giving lecture. You may make some mistake and then you repeat again, or maybe you need some repetition to make the student understand better. And also very messy. When you confuse yourself, you say something wrong, and then you cannot go back again to collect it in the same time. And the last issue is that the language, as I mentioned, that when we create the online, it is not so good idea to just limit it to Japanese student only. So let's come to the solution, how to make the content good enough to make the student get a good concentration and also have a very interesting in the detail and engage the student with the content when they learn, not just only listen to the video, they can find what they want to learn or go to the position of the video that they want to learn about it. And finally, they can get a better understanding. And the most important part is that multilingual. So the student should be able to select the language that they prefer. I have to confess, I finished my high school here, and then I went to Japan. It is very tough in the first year to learn a very new language for me. And in the first year in the university also, because you have only 1 year to study Japanese, you go to the lecture, and I attended Kyoto University, that I was same as Professor today keynote speaker. And you know, Kyoto, they speak in Kansai Ben. I study Japanese in standard. It is very difficult to say the standard, Tokyo Ben. Tokyo, another dialect, different from the Kansai Ben. And it is very hard to understand a professor lecture. And most of the Japanese lecturer in Kyoto, they speak Kansai Ben. They actually really pure Kansai Ben. It's very tough for me for the first and second years in the university. So how to make the class interesting, and also the student can select the language to learn. And it's not exaggerated to say that because of the Corona-19 pandemics, that push the student or push the technology to be ready for students to study remotely. Okay, so also the lecturer or the professor also really quickly get used to give the lecture online. I mean, facing the computer and give the talk. So this technology come very familiar because of the Corona-19. So during that time, most of the lectures are conducted by Zoom, maybe Microsoft Teams a little bit. I'm in Thai Microsoft because this is very expensive for me. So most of our application, we use open source and also Zoom. And because of the Zoom, so the professor can record the class. Okay, so that is the what happened during the Corona-19. And there may many error, word collections, hesitation, or stumbling, especially when I give my lecture in Japanese. I'm not so fluent in Japanese when I give the lecture. You have to think along with your speaking. So sometimes you have to repeat your conversation. And also error prone, a lot of error and some interruption. Then come back to make a good design, how to make use of the recorded, the classroom recorded video to make it suitable and usable for online learning. So the design based on the memories for learning, we have working memory when we're going to learn something new. And it is very limited working memory. So how to make efficient use of the working memory? So the input have to be well arranged. Can you imagine if you put everything for the student without knowing the goal or the total views of the content? So it is very hard for students to follow. So if you want to make the working memory efficiently, the input is going to be the video or audio or image. If it is well arranged, that can make the working memory work efficiently. So that is the first task, the input, how to make the good arrangement of the input. And also, because when you learn something, you're going to connect the content with your background knowledge, okay, to understand it. So we're going to find a way to make your working memory to be able to retrieve your long-term memory, the background memory. So that is the end of the understanding or learning process. So this is the actually the human process in learning. So according to the cognitive load theory, as I mentioned that we have a limited working memory. So for the input, if we make a good arrangement and give an essential knowledge for the input, so the content will be good enough. How to make the content concise and also full of information for the student to follow. That is one thing. And the second thing is that if the lecture gives a new information, but not ready in hand, the student have to pause the video and go to internet, maybe find some explanation of the technical term, and then come back to the video again. So then when you come back again, you will forget what you pause your video at that moment. So how can we avoid this kind of interruption of the content with the external information? That is the external load. We have to reduce the external load for the student. And Germain cognitive is to relate, as I mentioned, how to relate your learning content with your background knowledge to make you make a good understanding. So these three mechanisms that we have to prepare to make your video to be ready for the student to have a efficient learning of your content. So by architectures, we have these three functions to manage the learning content to make it efficient for using the working memory in learning process. I mentioned about the managing the intrinsic cognitive load to make it well enough, good structure for the content before learning the lesson. Can you imagine if you don't know the table of content, what you're going to learn, and you don't know any essence, what you're going to learn? It is really hard to follow. Okay, so one efficient thing is to give a well structure of the learning content that we can extract from the class video. And then another task is to provide every essential link to the new information to be ready in hand for the student to refer to. So then the student do not have to pause the video and go to check what is the technical term or new concept that appear during their study. And then finally, if we have the essence of the video extracted and provide a good hint for them to remind what they know before. Technically, if we can extract some keywords for them to trigger the memory, so this is a mechanism for them to remind what they know, so that they get another good retrieving the background memory to understand the content. So from this, we don't develop everything from scratch. So fortunately, because of the advancement of generative AI, so many natural language processing tools are available to manage the intrinsic. So by technically, we need a table of content of the video. Okay, how can we generate the table of content of the video, and in the same time, because the video is so long, about 100 or 200 minutes, so we need a kind of preview videos for the student to understand roughly what the content about, and then they can prepare themselves to learn the content, or maybe that is a good information for them to select to learn the content or not. This study also reported by one previous research that the student can concentrate not more than 6 minutes for one video clip. So that is one guide for us to summarize the video into 6 minutes. So the student will be able to understand the content, and then they can make the judgment to select to study or not. So this is the first part that we prepare to manage the video content. And the second thing is to reduce the extraness. We need the NLP, natural language processing technique, to extract the important words from the content. Okay? And then the important words contents, if we be able to link to any essential outside sources. Okay? And then with some one click or some summarize of the text, so the student can refer to the new information that they want to know very real time. And finally, we extract the keywords to trigger their long-term memory to understand the content. By architecture, so let's come to some technical architecture view. So as I mentioned that we don't develop everything from the scratch. So we use the open source and also some AI-ready tools. So starting from the input video, the Zoom recorded video or any recorded video from the classroom is possible. And then we need more information about the PowerPoint if possible, or the lecture note is also very useful for us to extract the text from the video. Okay, we use many kinds of tools to extract the sound from the video and use the whisper as the speech recognition to convert the sound into the text. And then we use the machine translation and also create the multilingual subtitle for the video. Not enough. Just I mentioned that because it is a classroom recorded video, there are many dead air or some blank video that no conversation or no speech from the lecturer. So we need some technique to smooth and compress the dead air from the video as well. So these are the technique that we use to refine the video before creating the content. And then come back to the very, very big issues for us, because using the generative AI, it causes a lot of hallucination. And how can we prove that it is not correct? Okay, and this is my recent journal paper that mentioned about System 1 and System 2. Okay, this is actually the architecture proposed by Daniel Kahneman that about the human thought process. We have System 1 as an automatic system, and when we train ourselves, like a large language model, because we train from the data, and then the model are created for automatic system. But it is a kind of, we call it lossy completion. Okay, the model cannot regenerate the fact. They cannot generate the fact, but they can reproduce something followed by the probabilistic model or statistical model. So in addition, we need knowledge of truth. Okay, in this architecture, we use the lecture information as a knowledge of the truth that will validate the output from the LLM. Okay, we will validate the output of the LLM and then recollect the output of the LLM again, and then output the final reliable result from this architecture. So somebody may have this kind of research, may think about RAG, retrieval augmented generation. I don't think that RAG is the solution, because RAG is another LLM, because they retrieve outside information and then retrain the same as the LLM trained model. So that will not solve the hallucination problem. So this one, we propose this method to collect the information that we generated from LLM. Okay. And the system will work like this. We have the input video. Okay. As I mentioned that the sound will be extracted, and then we produce the text from the sound. For the scene, the video, we make the index for retrieval later by the scene. And then we use this translated text to synchronize with the video uses subtitle. Because some scene, when we have a long speech, especially when we translate it into other language, there is a trend that may be longer than the scene, or may make a lot of spaces, that it is not suitable if you have a lot of text in the scene. So we need another technique to compress the subtitle. Okay. And then we need the text for summarization and keyword extraction. So finally, we give the result to the instructor and also the learners. Okay, it will look like this. We have the image of the our output look like this. It is multilingual pages. For example, this is the English page, and I think this is Japanese one. Okay. To provide the system according to the cognitive load theory, we have the summary of the context. We have word cloud that give the topic mentioning in the video, and also the word cloud have a connect to the other external link, and we have a chapter index, so the student can jump to the portion that they want to repeat. And finally, we provide a quiz that's generated from the content. So the student also can check the understanding by viewing the quiz. And we did a small evaluation. Let's see. I conduct this evaluation with my about 80 students in the class. Because there are 4 titles. I test my system 4 times, okay, with different content. Okay. And the upper part is the positive comment from the student, and you can see that it is actually following our design that we provide the function that is very useful for them. The summary that give them the summary of the content. And also, we have the subtitle for them to follow, because many technical terms, when the teacher give in the classroom that may be hard to understand for the student. So the subtitle is really important for them as well. So as a result, about 70% of the positive comment from the student still have some comment about the interfacing. Okay. So that is all the architectures and the tools that we use to refine the classroom recorded video to make the video attractive and usable for online learning. Okay, I will give you this video to summarize my talk.
Learning is a fundamental part of human growth, yet it remains a challenge. Students often struggle with retaining information, understanding complex concepts, and staying engaged. Traditional learning methods can be overwhelming, making it difficult to process and retain new knowledge. But what if learning could be more effective, interactive, and accessible for everyone? Introducing co-learning, a revolutionary e-learning system designed to enhance learning efficiency using cutting-edge technology and effective learning theory behind. Our platform integrates intelligent tools to make learning easier, more interactive, and personalized. It includes 1. AI-powered video summarization. 2. Auto-generated quizzes. Learning is most effective when knowledge is tested. Our system generates quizzes from lecture content, allowing students to assess their understanding instantly. 3. Multi-language support and AI voice translation. Allows students to learn in their preferred language. 4. Interactive word cloud. Understanding key terms is crucial for comprehension. 5. Table of contents for quick navigation. Finding the right information in long lectures has never been easier. Why is learning difficult? Research in cognitive science explains that the way we process information affects our ability to retain knowledge. Our platform is designed based on proven theories to make learning more effective. In terms of creating subtitles and translating, it is not just about creating, but also about cutting out unnecessary words to make it more concise and understandable. By taking the original videos and putting them through our process, we produce short, concise, and easy-to-understand videos in different languages. For example,
時間帯から周波数領域に
This is my
変
actual
換して
lecture.
ですから時間帯から周波数領域に変換して
We convert from the time domain to the frequency domain.
ดังนั้นจึงต้องแปลงจากโดเมนเวลาไปยังโดเมนความถี่
Secondly, cognitive load theory. It explains how our brain processes and retains information, emphasizing the limits of working memory. The theory focuses on 3 main components. 1. Intrinsic load or complexity of a task. 2. Extraneous load, which is the environment and the way we present the information. 3. Germane load, talking about the effort used to integrate new knowledge into existing knowledge. This leads to working memory in the learning process, which suggests that we should reduce extraneous load, increase germane load, and manage intrinsic load. Therefore, that's why our platform can. With co-learning, learning is no longer a challenge, it's an opportunity.
So that's why our students are so happy with my video rather than my actual lectures. So they're happy when they go back and they ask me to provide the video so they can repeat again, repeat the lecture. So as a conclusion, we connect the content to their long-term memory by using the keywords or the keywords of the content to trigger their understanding. All right, and then we use this cognitive load theory to manipulate the content for the student to use their very limited working memory to understand. All right, and then finally we use most parts of the tools of the AI to translate and then extract the text from the video. And sure, we need some additional function, additional algorithm to collect the output from the AI as well. So that's the end of the talk. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Would you like some questions? Do you have some questions? I would like to ask one question. Yeah. How does the co-learning model adapt to learners with different cognitive processing speed or learning disability?
Once again, I cannot.
How does the co-learning model adapt to learners with different cognitive processing speed or learning disability?
You mean that personalized the content? That is very crucial things. I have to confess that this is very early stage of my study, and I think that in general, I mean on average, by this approach, we can provide a better content from the recorded video, and also I didn't show you the summarized content. So this may be able to attract the attention from the student, and I hope that by this mechanism we can personalize if we get more information about the learner's profile, what their interests or what their background, so we can create our content better.
In the future?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.